Welcome back to Miss Cindy's Kitchen. It's been a little bit since we recorded a recipe. We just got really busy with leading into spring break, and Logan had a show, which is made for a crazy schedule. So anyway, I found a really good recipe that I wanted to share with you, and it's for lemon cookies. It's basically like a sugar cookie, but it's made out of lemons. And I have some beautiful lemons that a friend gave me. These are Meyer lemons. They're the ones that are kind of got a more orangey hue. And then we have the Eureka variety, which is the more commercial one. That's kind of got the lighter skin and has more sour lemon taste.
It looks more like an oblong shape.
Yeah, it's more oblong. I think these at one point were crossed with some kind of an orange or a mandarin or something. At least that's what someone told me. But anyway, what we're going to do first is get our butter and sugar creaming. And this takes 2 sticks of butter for a total of 1 cup of butter. And make sure you like and subscribe and keep sharing my videos and leaving me comments. I love hearing from you. And we're working toward getting to 1,000 subscribers. And once we do, we will do a live, and you all can chip in and suggest a recipe to do on a live episode. And I'm gonna unwrap this other wrapper here. And I usually leave butter on the counter at least overnight to save for recipes, because there's nothing worse than hard butter. And if you soften it in the microwave, you run the risk of getting it too soft, which affects the consistency of recipes. So, 1 cup of butter. Now we're going to add in 1.5 cups of white sugar. So we're going to get this creaming while we get the lemons ready. So that's 1. I already used these to measure out the flour, which is right here. So then we have another 1/2 cup of sugar. Alright, so we will set this to cream while we get the lemons ready. And what I'm going to do first is use the microplane to zest it.
Oh, nice.
It makes a nice fine zest.
Where'd you find one of those cages?
Well, this is from Pampered Chef, but you can get them at most kitchen stores. They're called a microplane. I like this one because it stands up. Most of them are kind of like a long stick style that you just run across the fruit. So this is going to need at least about a tablespoon of zest. So I'm going to use at least a couple lemons, possibly a third.
That's such a beautiful smell.
It does. It'd be nice if we had smell-o-vision and you all could smell the lemon. So I'm going to do another one. And you want to just do the surface of the lemon. You don't want to get the white pith, because that can be bitter. Alright. I love the fresh smell of lemon. And the first time I made this, I used the recommended amount of zest and lemon juice. And I found that it wasn't quite as pronounced lemon flavor, so I decided to increase it a little bit. So I'm going to do that. So rather than a couple teaspoons of zest, I'm going to put in like a full tablespoon. And you could always use your extra lemons for your tea or whatever. Alright. Doesn't that smell fantastic?
That smells so good.
Look at all that zest. So this is on the back here. Gotta make sure I go against the grain of the zester so I don't zest my fingertips in the process. So, let me go ahead and scrape down the bowl. And it's beginning to be a nice,
nice.
creamy color. And you need to cream your butter and sugar for at least 5 minutes till it gets to be a smooth, pale yellow. So let me keep that going, and then let me measure out the flour ingredients. And we have 2.5 cups of flour, to which we will add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I'll put this there so I can see it. So, doop-a-doop-a-doo. Teaspoon, and that's soda, so let's get the baking powder. And so 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and then we want a 1/2 teaspoon each of baking soda and salt. So that's the soda. We've had a lot of moist weather, so I put it in a glass jar. So you're gonna measure out a 1/2 teaspoon of table salt. Whoops. My brain is one step ahead of where I am. All right. So I'm gonna use a fork to mix together the dry ingredients. Now that we have this all creamed, we are going to add in the egg. But first, I'm going to go ahead and juice the lemons so we can get that ready, because it calls for 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Look at how juicy these are.
Oh, wow.
So, I like this little juicer here, but it does let in some of the pulp and the seeds. So that's why I have a strainer here and a second measuring cup, because I don't want seeds or pulp in the juice I put in the cookies. Tell how juicy these lemons are.
And why, I'd be interested in the seeds, but why not the pulp?
Because, I don't know, it's just a texture thing, I think.
Okay.
These nice juicy lemons.
Nice.
And pretty soon I think we're going to try to make a lemon meringue pie. That was my dad's favorite kind of pie. And he loved lemon. And my parents had a lemon tree while I was growing up. But unfortunately, it kind of got a blight and it's not doing very well anymore. So we got a lot more lemon juice than we actually need. But I don't think that's a real thing, too much lemon. So, alright. So, I'm going to strain this. As you can see how much came from 2 lemons. It's almost a 1/2 cup of juice. And you can see how much pits and pulp came through. Just going to stir that up. As you see the little pits there. Alright, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let me go ahead and put this aside. I love the smell of citrus. It always smells so good. Okay, so because after we add the egg, we're going to add the lemon to the recipe. So let me get something to put in the eggs into. I always like these little ramekins for condiments, and they're also good to crack an egg into, because that way you can see the shells if they get in there. I'm going to add 1 egg and let that incorporate, and then add the other egg.
So you do them one at a time?
One at a time. And I set these out earlier today because you want to have all your ingredients be room temperature, because they will incorporate better. And it also affects the way dough rises. So kind of like the days of our lives as the dough rises. Anyway. So I'm going to put the other egg in there. And let me go ahead and turn the oven on. It says 375 for the recipe. Alright. Gotta wake my screen back up here. Alright. So, and then we're going to add in a teaspoon of vanilla. A teaspoon. Just one little glug of vanilla. Alright. And we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. We've got a tablespoon here. Or we could use our little measuring pitcher that has tablespoons on it, which I find to be the handy way to measure liquids. So we're going to go for 2 tablespoons. So we're going to have a little bit of lemon left over. So we're going to gradually mix that in. We don't want to have the dough too wet, but I might just add in a little bit more lemon because this is a really good recipe. However, the first time I made it, it didn't have a very definitive lemon flavor. It just was a hint of lemon. So I'm just going to put a teeny bit more in. Maybe about a half a teaspoon, or a teaspoon or half a tablespoon. And then let's put in a tablespoon of zest, as it calls for 2 teaspoons, so I'm going to put in a little extra. So look at all that beautiful zest.
Wow.
That's what's going to give a lot of flavor. And we could even put a little bit more in just for good measure. Shall we give some extra lemon?
Yep.
Alright, kind of like throwing salt over your shoulder for good luck, huh? Alright. Now let's get the bowl scraped down. You want to scrape down your bowl several times over the course of mixing. Alright. And while we're doing this, just make sure that you have liked and subscribed and share the video to your friends. And leave us a comment. And we're looking toward hitting 1,000 subscribers. And we're going to do a lot of baking for spring. And soon we will start doing recipes through the decades from all those lovely cookbooks that I got from a friend. And a lot of the recipes from the 70s have really interesting combinations. And some had to do with like tuna and potatoes, and there were some from the 90s that were like different variations on taco pie. So we'll bring up some interesting recipes coming up. So we're just gradually incorporating our flour mixture. So I'm going to just keep adding this gradually as it gets mixed in. And this is actually a handwritten recipe that I found online. And it's really good. Alright. So. Alright, let me go ahead and stir this down, or scrape it down. Oh, the dough is getting stiff. Alright. So let me mix this one more time, just until it's incorporated. And that little bit of extra zest made the dough a little bit more yellow. And one way you can clean off your beaters is when you drop down your mixer, just stir them a little bit. Alright. So look at that beautiful dough.
Oh, wow.
See, it's really got a lemon fragrance to it.
Wow.
You can't smell it, but you can see it. Alright, so I'm going to scrape off the dough here. And I have prepared the cookie sheets by putting on some parchment. Because it says to line the baking sheets. So I presumed they meant parchment paper. Because that's what you line with. And just remember that wax paper is not oven safe. It's good for food storage, lining cookie containers, wrapping candies, but it's not oven safe. Parchment paper is oven safe, and you can actually use it for multiple batches of cookies. Alright, I'm not going to worry about that little bit of dough. We got plenty of people in the house who would love to lick that dough.
Yep.
So, let me wash my hands before I scoop out the dough. And that has got a really good lemon flavor. Alright.
What's up with these other 2 eggs?
That's for something we're making later.
Ah, okay.
I usually put out a batch of eggs to cool or to come to room temperature early in the day. This is the scooper I like the best. I've had this scooper for like 18 years and it still works great. Actually almost 19 because I was pregnant with Maddie when it was given to me. And she is turning 19 this fall. So, anyway, let me go ahead and put these out of the way. Alright, so we are going to scoop these on. And what I found worked well last time was just putting 9 cookies on here. That way it has room to spread. So we'll scoop out a few and we'll let you see what that looks like. If you like to bake, it's always good to invest in a cookie scoop because it just makes life easier. And even though this recipe says it makes 24, it actually made like 36 last time for a single batch. And we will make sure we have a recipe card for you guys so you can try this recipe too. So if you have a friend with lemons, hit them up for some beautiful lemons because homegrown lemons are the best. Just like homegrown or farm fresh eggs are the best. Supermarket stuff is good, but homegrown is always better. So we're gonna go ahead and continue to scoop cookies and we will bring you back when they're ready to go in the oven. So this scooped out a total of 44 cookies. I'm gonna bake them 2 sheets at a time. And let me double check the time for the cooking, or for the baking. It is 10 to 12 minutes. So once I get them done, I'm gonna let them sit on the cookie sheet for a couple of minutes and then put on a cooling rack. So I'm gonna bake 2 racks, two pans, and then switch them out for the other 2. And then when they're all ready, we'll bring you back and we'll show you how yummy they look. Whoops. Gotta get the powdered sugar shaker back together. Because while these are still warm, we need to dust them with powdered sugar. Okay, that's why it's not sitting straight. This is a handy dandy device, but when you go to refill it, you gotta get the lid just so, or else it won't sit on there straight. So while these are still warm, they've been out of the oven for about 2 minutes. We're gonna dust them with powdered sugar. Sometimes it helps just to rock it back and forth. And if you don't have a sifter like this, just get a small strainer and you could put the powdered sugar in there and then just tap it over the cookies. This just adds a nice little finishing touch for the cookies. So this is the first round, and then we've got the other ones baking. So while these cool, the other ones are baking. And since I have a dog that gets into everything, once I finish baking cookies, I immediately package them up, or else they will disappear off the counter.
Well, they disappear off the counter, not from the dog, but from
people. So yeah, just dust them when they're still a little warm. Not fresh out of the oven, but maybe 2 to 3 minutes out. So now you've got some nice dusted cookies, and then let me get the spatula. And all right, so basically just get a flat spatula. Metal ones work the best. And then put it on the cooling rack to finish cooling off. So there you go. And you could use your parchment again. Just scrape your crumbs into the trash and save it for next time. So we'll be back to show you the completed cookies once the other ones are done. All right, well, we're waiting for Logan to get perfectly groomed for his taste test.
Yeah, I had to make sure I look good on camera.
Yeah,
there he is.
yeah. So you got a nice
cookies.
fresh warm cookie.
Was these the same ones you made last week?
Yeah, the lemon cookies. Ooh. Of course, I punched up the lemon flavor in them.
Like a cookie version of a lemon bar.
Yeah.
Probably goes without saying.
Lemony, lemony.
It's delicious.
All right, so now you have got a wonderful cookie recipe to use all those lovely lemons. So make sure you like and subscribe and share this video lots of times. And leave us a comment and come back again soon for another recipe.
Thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen. To get more recipes like this one, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. Share it out to your friends, family, neighbors, and leave us a comment to let us know how this recipe worked for you. And don't forget to hit that like button. Again, thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen.